Hi everyone, welcome to a brand new series. In this one, we'll be playing RWBY Summer Rose Court. For those of you who don't know, I go by Psydragon on Tumblr, and a lot of people have been telling me to play this game, which comes as no surprise because I am a big RWBY fan, and this is actually a fan game that has been in the making for, I want to say, what seems to be like at least 4 years now. It started a while back as it's kind of like an inside joke between some friends online who said, what if we made our own RWBY fan game? And little did they know that actually kind of like snowballed into them seeking out the help of other people who were interested in that idea and actually coming together and making a full-length visual novel game, which is really incredible. And as you have seen in the disclaimer, it's very detached from the canonical show, but it just uses the same characters and loose elements of the story, such as Grimm, I imagine. But without further ado, let's get started. Okay, I've been really excited to play this game. There are several companion romances for RWBY in the Summer Rose Court. Would you like to disable romantic relationships between RWBY and her foster sister Yang? Oh, this is really funny. Yeah, some people ship RWBY and Yang, and in the show they are half siblings, which understandably turns off some people. And I guess in this game that they're just kind of severing that link even more and just making them foster siblings, which is still iffy to some people. I personally am not really a fan of that. I'm not gonna go for it, but well, I guess it'd be interesting to see how that would develop. I'm just not going to choose it when it pops up. This is so exciting. It was soon to be a grim night. Haha. The Kingdom of Vale and its capital heart, Beacon. So I think Q is save. Do I just press Q or do I have to click it? Okay. So that's a quick save. And this is an actual save. There we go. The Kingdom of Vale and its capital heart, Beacon. A shining jewel of a city, it was an island of hope amidst the despair that ran rampant throughout the rest of the plain. But soon the kingdom came under siege from a threat that its people had long thought to be only a myth. The creatures of Grimm. From the shadows they erupted, eager to devour. One horde attacked the city itself, ravaging every bright soul within. Another horde, smaller but no less dangerous, made to ransack the castle. Castle guards stood no chance, for the creatures of Grimm have hides too tough for blades to pierce. Oh man. Their fangs and claws were made to rip through armor, to break bone and tear flesh asunder. This they did in their eternal quest to slake the hungers that drove them. And so they would, moving further into castle to come upon the king and queen of Vale. Vale's rulers were brave and true, fierce fighters who defended their homes and family with strength and determination. But even the mighty king and queen were soon overtaken and devoured. No human forged steel or mere human strength could possibly defeat the foul beasts. All seemed lost as the night drew on, screams of horror shattering what had once been a quiet evening. It was then that the king's advisor, Lord Ozpin, and his longtime friend, Lady Goodwitch, appeared. Lady Goodwitch, a renowned wizard of the north, cast devastating spells that banished the Grimm from the castle. Through the mighty forces of magic, Lady Goodwitch saved the people of Beacon from the horde of Grimm. The people gave a great cheer as they realized what had come to pass and that their lives had been spared. However, their cry of celebration soon turned to one of mourning as they realized that the king and queen had been lost to the attack. And upon further investigation, the young princess of the kingdom had vanished as well, presumed dead. However, Lord Osmond was not convinced that the Grimm had slain the young princess as they had her parents. He asked Lady Goodwitch to search for any sign of the princess and to cross the entire kingdom if necessary. Lady Goodwitch agreed, and as Lord Osmond took to the throne as regent the next day, she swept away into the night. And so begins our story. Act 1. Another really interesting thing about this story is that this game needed a lot of artists to work on all the different assets and backgrounds and character sprites, and as you guys will see, there's going to be many different styles. I believe individual artists who worked on the game were like assigned different roles, and so you'll see that Ruby's drawn in one style, and Blake, Yang, and Weiss are drawn in other styles, and so it doesn't mesh well like a finished game with a singular style. But I think it's really interesting, and because I actually noticed that some of these styles, I recognize some of the styles as artists that I actually follow on Tumblr or who I am familiar with. I stretch and wake. Okay, first person. Ugh, it's early. At least I slept well anyway. No nightmares last night. Yang's gone already? That's new. I'm usually up way before she is. 7 years later and she still manages to surprise me. I'm gonna go find Yang. We've probably got chores that need doing. Sand dragon pens. Or the market. I'm gonna go for the sand dragon pens. Ember. Hey, don't take that tone with me. You know better. I'm working with what I've got, alright? Yang, what's going on? Morning, Ruby. The dragons are just throwing a temper tantrum. Isn't that right, Ember? What about Celica? I had to celebrate her from the rest of the dragons. She wasn't playing nice. What's got them so upset? We can't exactly afford to have angry sand dragons on our hands. Well, we gave them their food last night thinking we'd had plenty left over, but we're out of dragon food? Yep. You've checked all the bags? Yep, we're completely out. Yang, how could you? Remember the last time we ran out of food? But it's not going to come to that this time because I have your first chore for the day. Are you serious? Why do I have to do extra work because you can't take care of your own dragons? Because I'm the big sister and I make the rules. Ugh. Besides, you were a big sleepyhead and I woke up first, so I get the easy chores. Those are the rules, take them or leave them. The dragons need me to stay here to babysit them so they don't cause havoc in the pens. So go get a move on to the market. Fine, I'll go get them some food. Get back here as soon as you can. Yang was super buff. Wow, there are a lot of people here. The market hasn't been this busy in a while. I searched through piles of animal feed looking for dragon food, but finding nothing. Dragon food is very distinct, unlike other animals. They don't need much. They don't need to drink water more than once every few months. In fact, too much water makes them unhealthy. There's a lot of speculation as to why this is, with explanations ranging from the biological to the occult. In the end, no one knows for sure. The end result is that the only thing a dragon will eat is desiccated meat, essentially mummified by being buried under the sand for at least a week. Huh. Hey, do you have any dragon food? I'm not seeing any. Supplier? I'm almost positive we have at least one bag somewhere in here. I'll go check for you. I'm sorry, but we're completely out. The next shipment's due later this week, if you don't mind waiting. The Grimm have been attacking our supply convoys recently, so it's been difficult to restock. No, don't worry about it. I'll head back to the stables and ask Yang what she wants to do. Thanks for looking, though. Come on, you lazy dragon. Back inside. Hey, Yang. The supplier didn't have any feed, and she won't have any more until later this week. Ruby, we need this food now. We can't keep hungry dragons smack dab in the middle of the village. Her eyes. We could go to the next village over. They don't have as many dragons as we do, so they're bound to have some feed for sale. Yang takes the tack off the wall and starts to saddle up the dragons. That'll work. If we leave within the hour, we can get there in the afternoon and leave before nightfall. Don't forget to bring a weapon this time, okay? That was one time. I'm serious. We've been getting reports from some of the other clans that the Grimm are acting up. Don't get snippy just because I'm looking out for your dumb butt. Sure. Don't worry, I'll be sure to keep Little Thorn on hand at all times. Little Thorn. Is that like Crescent Rose 1.0? That rickety old thing? I know it belonged to your uncle, but you really need to find something sturdier soon, Ruby. Little Thorn is a beauty and a treasure. Don't you dare talk about my child that way. Whatever, just saddle up, Celica, and let's go. Yang and I go to the neighboring village. Though there haven't been hostilities between the clans in a long time, we are treated very coldly. It is made clear that the sooner we leave, the better. A little bitter, but not wanting to start a scene so far from home and safety, we pay for our goods and leave while the sun is high. It isn't ideal traveling conditions, but we are more willing to face the desert than a town full of prickly strangers. Yang? Was it just me, or were some of those villagers treating us, well, rudely? Yeah, but I didn't want to start anything. You wanted to avoid trouble for once? Quiet, you. I thought we were in a truce with that tribe. Why the sudden hostility? I don't know. I'll have to bring it up with Dad at the next council meeting. We do have history with that clan, you know? Most of it isn't very nice. Well, I know that. That was ages ago, from before I came here. It makes no sense that they'd get agitated over it now. When we aren't outright fighting, we need to look after each other. That's the only way anyone can survive in this place. Yang shrugs. People. It still bugs me that they treated us like that, though. Did they think we crossed the desert just to pick a fight or something? Aw, sis, don't be too grumpy. I think it was a productive trip. And besides, it's not the destination, it's the journey. That's why I love traveling. Yang, you've never left the desert your whole life. It's still traveling if I'm riding the dragons. I just like to move, okay? But speaking of leaving the desert, you know, your birthday's gonna roll around real soon. Maybe you and I should take a trip, like a real one, to somewhere far away. I've even saved up a bit of money. I was gonna surprise you, but I guess you wouldn't need the time to think about where we want to go and what we're going to pack and to make preparations and stuff. How much money? Well, enough. Not enough to open a portal or anything, but we can't. What? Open a portal. We can't, even if you had all the money in the village. Living material can't pass through the portals that go to the other planes. Not without a rose on the throne. Though we are far from prying ears in the desert, I feel tension build on the back of my neck. This isn't something we're supposed to talk about, not even in passing. Not even alone. I didn't know that. Not a lot of people do. Trade still flows, so no one questions it, probably. The only time they open the portals for humans is during wartime. That's what I learned, anyway. But still, ignoring that, what do you think about my idea, taking a trip? Even with the sun glaring down at us, I feel cold. My hands get clammy the way they do after the nightmares that still haunt my sleep. I think it would be safer if I didn't do that. Though she tries to hide how disappointed she is, I can still feel it radiating off her. Yang was never very good at concealing her emotions. Oh, I just thought, you know, maybe if we avoided the capital. You'll never stop waiting for that guy to come back, will you? Your uncle? It's been 7 years since he left you here, Ruby. Can't you let him go? If he was going to return, wouldn't he have done it by now? If they really needed a princess, they wouldn't have sent you away. It's more than that. I just can't go back to the castle, Yang. I can't even risk it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't even want to think about it. Well... She looks around her desperately, trying to deflect the conversation elsewhere. We are near a well-known way station between the villages, and she latches onto this fact. She points off into the distance, gesturing to the watering hole. What do you say to a little break? My sister and I approach the oasis, intent on water and shade. We are barely 30 feet from the patch when the sand starts shaking. A hysteria emerges from hiding underneath the sand. It is joined by its fellows, and my sister and I are surrounded. Damn it! These are creatures of Grimm, and I can't kill them with my glaive. Yang, catch! Using the power of my semblance to create a fierce wind, I knock a Grimm towards Yang, who destroys it with her aura. One of the beasts slips past Yang's guard and swipes at Ember. She roars in surprise and hops backwards, throwing Yang to the ground. Yang! I'm fine. A Grimm approaches Yang from behind. She doesn't notice. Behind you! I jump from my dragon and swing my glaive. It catches the beast in the jaw, and the blade breaks. Crack. What? I shake myself out of my stupor when another hysteria charges at me. I beat it back and glance over at Yang. Yang is fighting 3 Grimm at once. She's starting to tire. There's no way we'll make it out of this alive. A series of brilliant purple lights strike down on the hysteria. Dazzled, I blink away the afterimage of a powerful figure in the sands, rippling like a mirage. Energy radiates from her in waves, slowly shrinking lower and lower until I can see clearly. It's a woman. Aha, stranger. Are you too injured? Yang and I share matching concerned glances. I'm fine. RWBY? Yeah. I direct my next comment to the stranger. Thanks to you. Who are you? My name is Glinda Goodwitch, and I'm looking for the Xiaolong village. Would you be so kind to guide me there? Sure, anything. You saved our lives. I thought for sure we were done for. I'm Yang Xiaolong, and this is RWBY. We'll take you back to the village, and let me get our dragons. Very well. Glinda stares intently at me while I search for the blade of my glaive in the sands. You don't look like most people in this part of Vale. Well, I'm adopted, and I notice you have silver eyes. That's certainly an unusual trait. I guess I do. I guess it is? I mean, yes, I do. It is. Why? Your companion. She called you RWBY. Yang's my sister. Well, my adopted sister, but... I stop talking, noticing the broken end of my glaive. Aha! Yes! Glinda isn't as easily distracted, and she continues interrogating me. Would your surname by any chance happen to be Rose? Well, I mean, I'm a Xiaolong, but before that, it was Rose. I mean, I guess it still is Rose, since I was never officially inducted into the clan, so, yes? My God, I finally found you, haven't I? No doubt about it, you have your mother's face, and her eyes. There's no mistaking Rose's eyes. How you managed to stay hidden this long is a testament to Taiyang's loyalty to Crow, if nothing else. Princess, I've come here to take you back. For a brief instant, I wonder if we were safer with the Grimm after all. Wait, back? Back where? I'm here to return you to your kingdom. She knows who I am. Is it too late to run? To hide? Panicking, I try to think of what Crow would do, what kind of lie he would tell to maintain my secret. I'm sorry, her face is just really funny. I never thought I'd run into someone who knew the truth all the way out in the desert. My kingdom? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just a girl, I said. I was adopted, but there was a caravan that got attacked by bandits. The Xiaolong took me in when I was barely 10. My lady, I'm sorry, but I do not have time for this. I came here for an important reason. Did you notice how the beasts which attacked you earlier were acting? That is not how the creatures of Grimm normally behave. They do not strike in waves or wait until someone's back is turned. This is not an isolated incident either. The Grimm are becoming more intelligent. This is why I'm here. I need you to come back to Beacon. Once you are there, we can truly begin to fight back against these monsters. So let's not waste precious time. You're coming with me now. No. I turn around and put my cloak back on. Good. I shall speak to Miss Xiaolong and... What did you say? I'm not going to leave the village. I'm sorry you came all the way out here, but I don't want to leave. RWBY, I'm sorry, but you don't have much choice. You are the princess, and you are needed most desperately. Searching around for some kind of escape, I'm just about ready to bolt into the desert when Yang returns. Yang! Oh, Yang, you're back. We can ride as well as talk. Eyes narrowing, Yang picks up on my mood, sensing my discomfort around Glinda. You'll ride with me then, I think. Okay. So at this point, I think Ruby actually knows where she came from. Like there was like a part of me who thought, like, does she not remember where she came from? But like, it seems like she's actively trying to hide it and just doesn't want to go back because of the nightmares. As we ride, I can't help but think of the last thing Crow said to me before he left. To keep my identity a secret, to not trust anyone who came sniffing around, to stay hidden, and start a new life with the alibi he had constructed for me. But if Glinda is a threat, then why would she bother saving me and Yang from the Grim? I don't trust her, and I definitely don't want to leave with her, but at the same time, I don't think she's an enemy. We take her to our father's tent. Taeyang had been a friend of Crow's, trusted with the secret of my identity, and would know what to do. His eyes darken at the news. Excusing himself for a moment, he leaves to go get something, and I am left alone with Yang and Glinda. She wastes no time trying to hustle me out of the village. Miss Rose, there are preparations to make before we leave. You had best get started on them immediately. Yang. Yang places a comforting hand on the small of my back, whispering low enough that only I can hear her. Don't worry, sis. I've got you. Go do what you need to do. Raising her voice, she stands between me and Glinda, clapping the woman on the shoulders and blocking me from her view. What do you think you're... So about those preparations, how cold is it in the castle? Normally, we Xiaolongs make our panties from the hides of rogue sand dragons, but maybe you should get Ruby something woolen. I mean, if her royal butt froze to the throne, how would her subjects take her seriously? Queen Ruby of the Icy Rear isn't going to strike fear into the heart of anyone. Glinda's face. My sister continues to loudly distract Glinda while I make my escape. Oh, do they make armored underwear? That would be even better. I'm thinking we could get Ruby a set made out of plate and chain, put some spikes on there to intimidate her enemies when she rides into battle, or we could make something out of an Ursa skull. Have you ever headbutted one? They're really strong. Oh god, her hair. Her junk would be stylish and safe in a pair of those. Are you writing this down? Actually, I just remembered I have a thing. Later. Glad I gave that woman the slip. I needed to get my weapon fixed in case she tries anything funny with me. Don't worry, sweetheart. You'll be better soon. Just hold on. Hold on for me. Be strong a little longer. She kisses it. That's funny. Ahem. So, are you gonna buy anything, or do I have to ask you to leave? Yes, as in I'm going to buy something. Not yes, tell me to go. Well, I'm not really here to buy anything, so it's more of a no to both options. Uh-huh. Can you please fix her, please? That's a nasty break. You'd be better off getting a new weapon. Just fix her, please. It's going to take time to reforge something like this, and the metal still won't be as strong. We've got a nice selection of glaives in the back if you want to take a look. How about it? Nope. I've been working with metal a long time, miss. Trust me, you'll see more use out of a new one. Thanks for your time, then. Wait, I can fix it. Yay! Just leave it here, and I'll see what I can do. Dragonfire takes a while to get going, but it'll give you the best results. Waiting and waiting. Is there anything else I can help you with? Nope, I'm fine. So why are you still here? You mean I can't watch? No. Oh, okay. Take good care of her then. I'll be back soon. She wanted to watch. That's so Ruby, yeah. Man, those repairs can't be done soon enough. My poor child, all alone in the arms of a stranger. I can't even think about it. Can't go home just yet. We left that creepy good witch lady there to talk to my father. I'm gonna go hang out with Yang to distract myself instead. I bet she's with her dragons. Who's a good girl? Sing a song for me, baby. Chirp. You gotta do better than that if you want dinner. Sing. Ow. Ruby? Oh hey, I didn't see you there. I was teaching Ember how to dragon. I think they're dragoning pretty well already. Anyway, sis, speaking of dragons, the storyteller's doing our favorite show tonight. Do you want to come with me and kill some time? I ditched that good witch lady in Dad's tent, but they're still talking, and he hasn't kicked her out yet. Ugh, yeah. Then I definitely don't want to go home. I need a break from these dragons. They've been antsy and stubborn all day. Skirt? Yes, I'm talking about you, fussy fangs. Anyway, let's go. Oh, I recognize this style. Ying and I stand on the outside of a small semicircle of children and younger teens. A few adults are scattered here and there, all holding onto their children's hands or with their babies on their laps. This is more of a child's event. Ying and I are the oldest people there, unaccompanied. All of them are dark-skinned, sandy-haired Xiaolong villagers. Though no one says anything, I know I must stand out like a sore thumb. It reminds me of Glinda. I don't want to be reminded of Glinda. I look at Yang smiling beside me, then to the center of the circle, the storyteller, a blazing fire near him as his dolls and puppets cast shadows that tell our favorite story. Looks like we got here just in time. He just started. This is a story from the beginning. Before the desert, before the heat, men, beasts, and plants lived together in the cycle of death and rebirth. The rain was soft and gentle, and our families lived and ruled far and wide in peace and plenty. Why would you heckle? And then came the creatures of Grimm. They spread across the land like a wildfire, and everything they touched withered and died. The sands blew in, the rain stopped, and when they did come, they flooded and drowned our livestock and our homes. But humanity was not to be wiped out just yet. Allies appeared from the furthest plains, and with our hope restored, we drove the Grimm back. So we have like some European-styled knights, some like Mediterranean-inspired warriors. And I'm not sure what the middle one is supposed to represent. We stood up led by our bravest and our wisest, and though the creatures of Grimm still run free in certain parts of the plain, humanity thrives as well. That is why whenever we receive a plea for aid from another plane, we will always respect the arrangement made in past generations and give them our finest warriors, as they do for us. One of the greatest warriors was Xiaolong, the ancestor of our own leader and the woman for whom our tribe is named. She went searching for her husband, who had gone missing during a hunting trip. Yeah! She found him in the claws of a mother dragon, but instead of slaying the beast, she established dominance over them. Dragons are incredibly intelligent, and she was one of the first to tame them. Ever since that day, the dragons have served us, protected us, and guided us through the sands, and they serve too as a mark of their owner's character. Only the fiercest, the bravest, and the most noble can successfully rein in a wild sand dragon. To own one is to continue our traditions, and to have the respect of a wild dragon is rare. They are loyal only to their masters, and those who have their masters' hearts. The first dragon displayed loyalty only to Xiaolong and her husband. And we have one right here, a real Xiaolong who went out into the desert and bested a wild sand dragon. That's right. Yes, that's true. When she was young, the eldest Xiaolong girl got separated from her caravan during a Grimm attack. Forced to choose between the wilds and the Grimm, she chose the wilds and all the dangers it possessed. She returned days later holding the reins of a sand dragon as her ancestor did, many generations before. And that is the story of how the creatures of Grimm scorched the land, how our old life ended, and how our bond with the dragons began. It feels different than the first time I heard it. No, it's the same. We've changed, maybe. Still good, though. Yeah. Skirt. Good dragon. Yang places her hand on Ember's snout. No, don't worry. I didn't forget your dinner. I had to go do some things with your other mama for a bit, but I'm back now. Aren't I a bit more like their auntie than anything else? Oh yeah, of course. I guess... Oh god. Here comes the flirting. I guess I just forget sometimes. Forget what? Well, you know. Remember how the other kids picked on us after they saw how my dragons were towards you? That's right. Wow, that was so long ago. They used to say it meant I was your husband now, like the other Xiaolong from the story. Ugh, I know. It got to the point where even I thought it meant we were supposed to get married one day. Turning Yang down here ensures no further romantic interactions with her will occur. Okay, so at least they tell you, which I guess is fair. I mean, I think some games don't tell you. They're just like, you make your mistakes and own up to it. Not me, though. Blood relatives or not, I've always thought of you as my sister. All this garbage with Glinda, it's just making me remember stuff. Like how I felt when I lost my parents. Ruby, we don't have to talk about that if you don't want to. But I do want to. When Crowbot brought me here, you gave me hope that I could have a family again. You might not realize it, but you mean more to me than anyone else. Anything else. You and Dad both. Right back at you. You big dweeb. Hey! Smooch smooch. Anyway, let's go. I think Dad might have run off with that Glinda weirdo by now. My glaive should be ready soon, too. Yeah, we wasted enough time dicking around in the fireplace. Language. We arrived back at our tents to see that Dad was asleep and the Glinda lady nowhere to be found. Every tension I have slips away. In the sudden relief, I feel exhausted. It's late. I should head to bed soon, too. Ugh, I'm so tired. I had to run all the way back to the blacksmith to pick up my glaive. And then there's all that stuff. Then there's all the stuff Glinda and the feed supplier told me. The Grimm are starting to act weird, but they'll probably keep acting weird whether I stay here or go to Beacon. And since I'd rather stay here, that's a problem for future Ruby. I step towards my bedroll. Just before I lie down, something slams into me, knocking me down. What? A struggling lump rises in the fabric of my tent wall, nearly pulling the whole thing down. It grunts and chokes, almost sounding like someone I know, but I couldn't quite place the voice. These Xiaolongs sometimes, I swear. I get up, grabbing my glaive from where it rested next to my bed. Poking the lump with the blunt end, I loudly start to complain. Hey, what's the deal? Grrr. What? Oh no! Scream rends the air. I run outside and turn just as my tent collapses, a hysteria working its way out of the tangle. It looks at me and makes a noise, something between a growl and a laugh. Oh no. The Grimm runs towards me and leaps towards my chest. I spin tightly, the butt of my glaive coming in an upward sweep, slamming into the Grimm's side and making it screech. It flies out of sight. Can't kill you guys, but I can sure as heck knock you back. I turn around to look at the village. No. Already a number of Xiaolong bodies lie still. Several parents run with children in tow while other Xiaolong fight against the monsters. A handful of Grimm turn to chase after the fleeing villagers. Oh no you don't. I call upon my semblance, leaping into place to protect the Xiaolong's retreat. Again I strike the Grimm away hard enough to send them flying. Why can't I kill these things? A pillar of flame roars into existence near the center of the village. That must be Yang. Wonder how many she got with that. It's pretty badass art right there. The light attracts the Grimm enough to make them advance towards the fight and away from those attempting to retreat. Satisfied that they're no longer going after non-combatants, I run towards the middle of the village where I can hear most of the fight taking place. In the center of the village, the great fire remains burning, its flickering light alternatively illuminating and obscuring the horrid scene. That's a lot of carnage. Human forms litter the ground, their bodies far outnumbering those of fallen Grimm. They're doing it again. The Grimm are attacking in an organized manner, fighting in waves. Some would strike and they would fade into the night while a second wave advances. Then the first wave strikes again, and to double their numbers against the Xiaolong. It's a terribly effective tactic. Other Xiaolong villagers use their semblance to fend off the beasts, or lob pots of burning oil at the creatures. There's the trader and the blacksmith. But even with their help, we are still outnumbered and still caught unawares. No one expected an ambush, not of this magnitude. Grimm do not wait until nighttime to attack, stealthily hiding their approach until it is too late to set up a defense. They are loud, mindless beasts of screaming fury. Stealth, midnight raids, setting traps near the oasis, or other well-known resting spots. These are human tactics, bandit tactics. This is a kind of animal cunning that the Grimm have never exhibited before. Pardon me. Glinda steps forward and blasts a Grimm with her magic. Stay and fight with Glinda or go fight with Yang? I feel like Glinda has it. Go fight with Yang. I smell like Glinda, who gives a curt nod before returning to her bloody work. I dash off in Yang's direction. Finding Yang is easy enough, the only pillar of flame in the darkness. As I approach, I see a Grim creeping up behind her, ferociously intent on the hysteria, trying to tear her arm braces off. Yang doesn't see it. Yang, look out! I dart in with my semblance, tackling her out of harm's way. We fall to the ground as the Grim leaps over us, bowling into the crowd of other hysteria Yang had been dealing with. Thanks, little Rose. Under Yang's guidance, the militia manages to regroup using the tactics she had tried drilling into them. We take out a few more of the Grim and defend the village. Glinda is a great help as well, and the battle is over by the time the sun rises. Oh, man. Too many people were lost that night. Children, men, women, people I had known, people who had come to accept me as part of their own. The clan is large, with not everyone directly related by anything other than their clan name, but we all looked out for each other as a family. I can't even believe this all happened in one night. I feel dumb, sitting on the edges of my father's tent. He had lived, as had Yang, but so many other people did not. Glinda finds me eventually. I am sorry it took so long for me to act. I'm afraid I was unaware of the situation until it was rather late. It's okay. You helped a lot once you showed up. More than I did, really. Ruby, I know that you told me that you wish to stay with the Xiaolongs, but all of the Grim in Vale are becoming this organized. It's not just in the desert, it's everywhere. This has happened in many other places. It's happened that night, 7 years ago, the attack that cost your parents their lives. You mean twice? This has happened to my home, my family, twice. And both times I was powerless to help. Yes, and I can guarantee that this will happen again. Here, somewhere else, I don't know. But it will happen again. There are ancient protection spells that defend our plane, and they are dying. We need a true blooded heir to rekindle them. That's you, Ruby. We need you. If you don't come with me, this will continue to happen until humanity is eradicated from this plane and eventually every other. However, if you take up your royal duty as the heir apparent, then you can make it clear to your people that these are not just isolated incidents. You cannot forget, and we cannot twiddle our thumbs until another, much worse attack happens. So I will ask you again, will you return to Beacon and claim your birthright? I don't answer immediately. I look at Glinda, and then almost anywhere but at her. I had been almost certain of my decision the night before, but much had happened in those few hours. I'm no longer so sure. I say you go for it. It honestly couldn't hurt, you going there. And hey, might be nice to get a change of scenery. Seeing the same desert sand every day wears me out. I'm just not sure I can do it. I'm not much of a queen. Well, that's why I'm going with you. That way we can both be bad queens together. You can't do that. You should stay with your family. The words slip out before I can stop them. Some part of me still has trouble believing I am accepted here. Truly accepted. Yang slaps my arm, trying to be gentle and teasing me, but almost knocking me flat. That's exactly what I'm doing. I told you I wanted to take a trip with you, Ruby. Now we can. We just might not be able to come home for a while, is all. You can actually choose to stay here? Did I remember to save? I don't see... I'm not sure. Okay, there we go. I looked up at Glinda and nod. Alright, I'll go to Beacon. Much of the day is spent caring for the wounded and the fallen, and going through the destroyed village, seeing what is ruined and what might be repaired. Glinda and I help as much as we can, but she makes it clear she'd rather be on the road. You know, there's actually a part of me that feels that Glinda let the attack happen. She was there already, and, you know, as someone who's been fighting the Grim like on the front lines for all these years. You'd feel like she'd be on it. And like, I know that's a horrible thing to say, but I feel like she let it happen just to have that shock factor, maybe motivate Ruby into being like, yes, I have to go. There's no hiding anymore. That's a horrible thing to say, but I don't know. I just have this feeling that she did that on purpose. At last, I stand alongside my sister and Glinda as Yang says her goodbyes. I only smile, trying to hold back tears as the clan bids us fond farewells. I'd only lived here for a few years, but they had been a rich and wonderful few years. Just before we leave, one of the older women gives me a small charm. It's an intricate piece of art, amber and blown glass, metal and dragon bone. The desert in its entirety is held within it, and when I look at the flaming heart of the Xiaolong clan etched upon the surface, I realize what it is. A blessing, a talisman given from an older relative to a younger one, a promise to come home safely when the journey is over. I clench it tightly in my fist, trying not to show how close I am to tears. This really is my family, my home. If only I had just seen that sooner. Xiaolong woman. Luck to you, Ruby Rose. Thank you. Thank you so much. With that, we climb atop the sand dragons and give a final wave to the Xiaolong village. We ride off and it isn't long before the village is out of sight. That's a really beautiful background. And this, I haven't commented on it yet, but the music so far is really nice. Yeah, people who worked on this game have done a really good job, from what I can tell so far. Only then do I allow myself to cry, though I keep quiet, not wishing to disturb Yang or Glinda. So, with a bright moon to guide us, we go to the capital of the Kingdom of Vale. And now we are into Act 2, Part 1. I think this is actually a good part to take a break, finish the first act, and probably let some time sink in before we jump into Act 2 to kind of just contemplate what just happened to us and everything. But so far I'm really enjoying the game. The writing is pretty funny. The art is really cool. Like, yeah, there's different art styles which can be kind of like odd to see, but it just reminds me of all the different people who have come from like different artistic backgrounds and that they all just came together to make this game. So we're going to end it right here, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of RWBY Summer Rose Court. Until then.